Hey YouTube, Brink here from Off the Brink TV, bringing you another video. Actually, only my second video that I've spoken on is an how-to video on how to create intelligent weak auras notifications. Now, before we get into that, I definitely just want to let you know why I've created the channel. If you haven't caught the end of my first video, the reason why I created this channel is really just to bring descriptive instructions on how to do things that I either found difficult, challenging, or just outright cool. There's a lot of things in the world of Warcraft that I find that are amazing or, you know, sometimes troubling. So I definitely want to be able to explain or show how I've overcome these obstacles and how I've actually got the end result that I wanted. And you know what, there are some videos that you're going to see me showing off my UI or showing off some, you know, some cool big hits or whatever the case is. But I definitely created this channel because when I search how to do something on YouTube, and this will probably be the last time I'll say something negative about other channels or other videos, but whenever I go to YouTube or I search something, I never really find, you know, what I'm looking for or something that's descriptive enough to really get me from point A to point B without all the laziness in the middle. A lot of people create videos and go through all the trouble of creating video, but then get lazy while recording it, and I just don't understand that. And you know, excuse me if I'm creating a video that's less informative or something that's a copy of what someone else did, because I really am just coming on here and doing my own thing, and if it is something or something like someone else has already recorded, then excuse me, it was not intentional. But, you know, other than that, I really just want to be able to bring this without having some, you know, 240p resolution, someone with a stutter, you know, sloppy video recording, or just some hardcore death metal suicide music blasting in your ear while, you know, shuffling through a map really quickly so you can't really see what's going on. So this video is definitely going to be as descriptive as possible. No music blasting in your ear. I might put some music on in some other videos, but not in my tutorial stuff. Definitely not my tutorial stuff. Just relax, some WoW music playing in the background, some ambience, you know, just get to it. In the description, I'll actually put the timestamp of where we get to the nitty-gritty, so you don't have to listen to me talk about myself for 2.5 minutes in the beginning of every video. But alright, here we go. What we're gonna do, and now the reason why I'm showing this off is actually because my UI does get a lot of attention, and a little E-peen stroke here on the LVUI forums and on WoW interface. A lot of people hit me up, want my UI, want to know how I've got it to interact the way I have, whether they're using my UI or they want to do it for their own or their own customizations. And one of the big questions I got is how I created the no poisons notification. Now, I'm sure a lot of you will agree with me. You don't want 100 add-ons doing 100 things, right? You want a handful of add-ons doing 100 things. So you want to consolidate all the end results that you want, and you want to achieve those end results with the least amount of performance handicapping add-ons possible. All right, a lot of those add-ons are going to take up a lot of space. They're going to lag you down. They're not going to give you the smooth performance that you would get with the least amount of add-ons. And one add-on that does a lot, and that I feel no one should do without, whether you're a casual player, whether you're hardcore, whether you have the default UI and have no other add-on but one, I would say that one add-on would definitely, probably should be weak auras. You know, a lot of you guys are coming over from power auras like I have, and like, you know, how the hell do I work this thing? It's so different, and afraid to change, because I know when an add-on that I like stops being supported, oh my god, I'm ready to blow my brains out, right? So I go on Power Auras, and I don't care what the add-on site says. I don't care what Lua change someone tells you to make in the actual add-on script. I don't care what it is. Power Auras is not supported anymore. It's at least not supported up to my standards, and I'll tell you something right now. Once you take the plunge, bite the bullet, and get into the weak auras UI, you will thank me. You will love me. Trust me. Weak auras interface is a lot more intuitive. It's more intelligent. It's cleaner. it does more. It's better. It's just better. It's just a better made add-on. Kudos to the developer. God, I should, you know, I should slap myself in the face for not knowing who it is. You know, I'll definitely give you the credits in the description. I apologize for that, but let's get right into it. Now, what we're creating, and I'll show you in a moment, to open up the weak auras UI, right? Quite simply, you all should know already. Just type /WA, brings up the weak auras menu. Now, what you'll see in the app at the settings UI is all my auras. Now, please don't make fun of me. I've been scrutinizing my interface, breaking down textures, and going crazy to make sure everything is pixel perfect. That I've kind of put on. I've kind of put organizing my weak auras on the back burner. I do have to folder a couple of these stuff, consolidate a couple of them. It is a little sloppy. Excuse me for it being disorganized, but you know, obviously, you know, don't sue me for that. So, okay, you see I have a no poisons notification in the center of the screen. This is obviously just my generic no poisons notification that I have for myself. On the side here is something I created for the video, but what we're going to do is we're actually going to delete it because we're going to create it from scratch. Okay. Now, what you want to do is you want to create this. You want to create a deadly poison aura, or whatever you're trying to create an aura for, whatever type of notification. It could be for a specific spell. It could be for a power-up. It could be for a buff in this case, obviously. It could be for a mount. It could be for an interrupt. It could be for absolutely anything that you want. But for the sake of the video, we're going to be working with the poison aura, okay? So right now you see that we have this deadly poison aura set up. So this is the goal. We're going to want it to get it looking somewhat like that. So we're going to go ahead and start a new aura. Now you have a couple of options, and guys, you know, sky's the limit here. You could use a progress texture, you could use a regular texture, you could use a model, you could use a 3D model of a boss, of yourself, of the target. You can do whatever you want. You can actually use text. Text is what you saw here with the no poisons text bouncing, which was purely aesthetic, on top of my two already created icon auras, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to create an icon aura. So go ahead and click icon, right? Now the first page, let's name this Deadly Poison, right? Now, right on the first page, right on the first tab, it's display. We're going to come back to this. One of the things that stands out is automatic icon. You can make sure it's checked. You can make sure it's not checked. It doesn't matter. Don't fret about that. A lot of people asking me, you know, automatic icon, what's up with it, what they should do with it. Don't even worry about it. It doesn't need to be touched, because for some reason when you inverse a buff, and I'll explain what inversing the buff means, for some reason when you do that, it fucks with the actual icon. I don't know why, but you know, pretty much every spell is easily found by searching, and we'll get into that right in just a second. So right now what you want to do is, you see there's no option to choose an icon here at all. All there is an automatic icon option. This is going to change. Believe it or not. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump to the triggers. We're going to come back to display in a minute. So we're going to jump to the trigger. Now, very, very straightforward, although things can seem a bit overwhelming. You know, try to read things for what they are. You know, take it line by line. That's what I did when trying to understand the UI, because right away you feel like you can't do as much as you can with power auras, but you can actually do more, and it's in a more organized fashion. Actually, it's set up as triggers. There's multiple triggers. Now, before we continue, I'm going to let you know that multiple triggers mean one and the other, not one or the other. And so before you go crazy creating multiple triggers, and then you're not, you know, you're getting angry as to why your aura is not popping up when one of your triggers is met, it's because it's one trigger and the other trigger for it to pop up the aura. So you have to have trigger one, trigger two, or how many triggers you have, you know, appeal for it to actually pop up as the aura. So I'm going to show you that in a second. Trigger one, what we're doing here is very, very obvious. We're creating the aura name, which is Deadly Poison. That's the buff, right? Very, very simple. Click OK. Boom. We get the icon to pop up. Alright, 41 matches. I still don't know what the fuck that means. Maybe old deadly poisons. Maybe other spells that have deadly poisons involved. Who knows? Who cares? Let's move on. Unit. Grayed out. You have to select a unit. Obviously, what we're going to select is player, because player is the unit that the buff is going, or the aura is going to be active or not active on, right? Player. Aura type buff. Deadly poisons and leeching poisons is not a poison. The aura type isn't poison. It's buff. Okay? So we're going to leave buff as the aura type. Buff or debuff. Very, very easily. Very, very easy, right? Now, here's what I was talking about inverse. Now, this might be clear to a lot of you, but to me, this was super hard for me to find. Sometimes the things that are right in front of your face are the ones that are the most difficult to locate, but for me, this was like I was pulling my hair out of my head. And what this inverse does is it activates the actual notification when the given aura or auras can't be found. Right? So that means when you don't have deadly or leeching poison active, or your mount active, or whatever other buff you're notifying yourself of it not being active, right? That's what this is going to do. It's going to alert you when the actual buff, debuff, whatever is not on you. So we're going to click that, and like I said before, it fucks with the icon. I don't know why. I don't know why they don't just leave it as an automatic icon or have the ability to select, but whatever. We're going to inverse, so it's going to change it to a question mark, but that's okay. We're going to bounce back to display, just to get things looking the way we want to. I found it a little difficult to edit an aura when it was a question mark. Maybe something with the subconscious. Let's just get it to the proper icon so we can mess with the correct way, right? So, I'm going to go back to the display tab, and we see that we have choose here now. Remember before there was none of this here. Automatic icons grayed out. They want you to choose the icon. Now, don't get nervous when you hit choose. There's nothing there. Just simply search for the ability. Simply search for the ability. Deadly poison. Boom. You see it pop up right there. Click it. Press OK. Very, very easy stuff, right? Now, we have the actual icon pop up. That's the display. And now what we're going to do is we're going to jump back to the trigger. Okay? Boom. Jump back to the trigger. What do we see? We have the inverse there. But that's okay. Right? Now we have the inverse set up, so that means when we don't have the deadly poison buff, that's when it's going to pop up. But, you know, there's a couple of reasons why we don't want just one trigger set up. There's a couple of reasons why we're going to want multiple triggers set up. One of those big reasons is you don't want an aura in your face when you're in Stormwind crafting, when you're by an auction house, when you're doing specific things that don't involve, you know, attacking a mob, right? Why would you want an aura in your face when you don't have deadly or leeching poisons on? You're not doing anything that's combat oriented, right? So what you're going to want to do is set up a second trigger to show you the poison or show you whatever you have notifying you when you target something that's attackable. And why should we go with something attackable and not hostile? Very, very, very simple, because, you know, there are some neutral targets you might want to kill and you want to get your buff notification there, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go over to add trigger. Add trigger. Now we have something that says trigger 2, right? Now, like I said before, it's trigger 1 and trigger 2 are present. That's when it'll show you the notification. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to type of trigger, status, unit characteristics. Now this can seem a little overwhelming. This can get a little crazy. I feel some of the things shouldn't be categorized under some of these labels, but they are. You might have to dig through them for whatever you're aiming for, but for this, it's going to be unit characteristics. Unit is going to be target, right? Because it's going to be a target that we're going to want to be alerted when we target a target, right? Now, we're going to want it to alert us when we target an attackable target. Now, I explained to you why it's got to be attackable and not hostile, but you can do whatever you want here. You could put the name of the character, name of the mob, class of the mob, hostility. Obviously, you're going to see friendly and hostile. Character type, doesn't matter. Even level, you have a level thresholds here, right? So you have buffers for pretty much anything and everything. Boom. So you have a second trigger set up for when you target something. So now right away, leave weak auras. The auras is gone. The auras is not there. And I'll show you how it works, because now when we target something, target anything that's attackable, it pops up here on the right. Now these are my current notifications. You know, I didn't want to delete them for the video or disable them, so they're right there. But this is the one we just created, and it's only going to show when we target something that's attackable. You know, untarget or whatever, clear target, and it's not there anymore. Cool. So I was going to create a second video, how to set up a time threshold, but you know, I think I could get it in here quickly. What we're going to do is we're going to go back to the actual icon or notification that we created, and I'm not going to create a new one because it is rather easy. All I'm going to do is act like I just created it and delete the second trigger and uncheck inverse. So let's say now you want to create a deadly poison or buff notification that alerts you when there's less than a specific duration on the buff. This could be for healing, this could be for tanking, for cooldowns, whatever. I set my threshold for 5 minutes. Why do I do that? That I feel is a very, very comfortable buffer, because if you're in a dungeon and you target a boss, it probably takes less than 5 minutes to kill a boss, and you just got your notification when you targeted the buff while while you're fighting the boss that you have less than 5 minutes left on your poisons. Probably don't have to worry about it. You'll be able to rebuff. But let's say you're in a raid encounter where the fight is going to be 10 minutes. I let it notify me less than 5 minutes, so during that 5-minute span, I can get to a safe area where I don't get killed by a mechanic, or, you know, I can take the time to actually rebuff myself without having any amount of time where I'm not buffed, right? So if we had the notification just pop up when you didn't have the buff active, that means there would be any amount of time where you don't have your poisons on, right? You're attacking and, oh shit, I don't got my poisons, I gotta reapply. So now you just went a couple of seconds without having poisons at all on and attacking without poisons at all. So instead of having time where you're reapplying poisons and have poisons active, which is the smart way, you would be reapplying poisons when you didn't have them active at all, right? So pretty much makes sense to set some type of threshold. Unfortunately, you have to create a second aura because, like I said before, the triggers are one and the other. They're not one or the other. So you have to create a second aura like I did. I created them on top of each other. So now you have this aura set up. Let's pretend you created an aura for the first time, obviously. You want to go to the display, or you want to have automatic icon selected in this case. It's not, it only inverses when it pops up to choose your icon. You're going to go over to text, and you have a couple of options here in text, right? You have %P, which is progress, %T for total, and name, icon, stacks, custom. We're going to go with progress, the remaining time of a timer or a non-timer value, right? So %P, boom. What happens there is the timer pops up right on top of the icon, right? Right there. So let's bring the size of the font to a comfortable 18. I use LVI, but you can use any type of font that you want. Sky's the limit. You can use your shared media folders fonts, anything you want, right? You got the sizes of the actual icon. Nothing has changed but the actual, you know, the actual timer on there. But now, what we're going to do is, instead of just having a generic trigger with inverse, we're going to have a generic trigger with a remaining time. This is another filter. So we're going to check remaining time. Operator is going to be, these are the options. If you're, you know, math illiterate, this means less than, this means less than or equal, this means equal, greater than and equal, and I don't know what the fuck that means. But we're going to go with less than, and this, God, this took me forever to figure out, and it's really simple. This is going to be in seconds, not minutes. So 300 seconds for 5 minutes. Now, I can't put deadly poisons on and reduce the duration to 5 minutes to show you that this works, but trust me, it works. It definitely works. It'll pop up and notify you when you have any buff that you set up here, and the duration is less than 5 minutes. And you can obviously set up your animations here. You have your start animation, you know, just like power auras. But you're going to choose presets for like the generic ones, like the fade in, and you know, the finish one is going to be the preset fade out. You know, those are, you know, the reason why I'm just showing you this is so you know that it's under preset and not under anything else. You know, I could go on forever with this add-on. It's definitely one of the best add-ons out there. I really hope this how-to video helped you. You know, rate, comment, subscribe. Definitely want some feedback. I'm new to creating this video thing, so just let me know how I'm doing. You know, do I talk too fast? Do I talk too slow? Do I curse too much? Do I curse too little? You know, just let me know. You know, my UI is definitely downloadable. I'll put the link in the description, and if you have any other questions, just hit me up. Let me give you all a wave here. That's it.